Hi, good people from all over the world. This is Nick, and welcome to Terraria. In today's video, I'll be showing a brief tutorial on how to use the Smash Bros. Mod. The first thing I'll start off with is showing the items in the mod itself. And to do this, I'll be using the UI scale increase from the Better Zoom and Camera Control mod, which helps with various camera controls, including the UI. The first one we'll start off with is the enemy marker. You can select teams of from 1 to 8, and there's two different ways to select. You can either just left click or hold and drag to select more than one enemy at a time. So if you want to just pinpoint one enemy, you can, or if you want to click a whole group, you can. And then right click to cycle through the various groups or teams that you want. The second item is basically the freeze item. You press left click and it will freeze. This is what I usually do before I select an enemy. That's one good way to know that an enemy has been selected, because it will freeze, it will stop moving, like sometimes even in mid jump or mid animation. And then say we wanted to have a fight another blue slime, we switch to team 2, and then we can mark that one. And then to start the battle, we have this battle switcher here. And then once it says battle start, we can unfreeze and then have them fight. I don't know why they're acting like that. That's funny. But we'll go and have them freeze again. One of the other items you can do is an arena editor. Normally the border is around the whole entire world, but say for whatever reason you wanted to have it your own custom space, you click 4 points to basically make a square or a rectangle around the area that you want it to be, and they will not be able to go beyond that border. As you can tell, they're right up here right now, but if we moved the border, wherever we move it, that's where they have to be. Now this can result in a little bit of glitchiness and flashing, like this happens right now. That can happen, and if you want to get rid of it, you just press right click, and of course they're frozen, so they're stuck midair. The other one is the enemy watcher one. You can press left click, and then you will follow that POV of the enemy itself, and you can right click to get out of that perspective. The other one is the enemy teleporter. Say they go too far away, you can use this, left click, and they will spawn right back in your location. And then the fourth one is the mark cleaner, that basically gets rid of the marks, so they're unmarked again. Then say like you messed up and you wanted to clear marks to make it different teams or whatever, for whatever reason, you can do that. There are other items in this mod, but those are the main ones. And as far as the settings go, in terms of getting pretty much any item in any mod, you can use Cheat Sheet mod or Heroes mod. I use them pretty much the same, and they're both great mods. And then there's as far as the actual settings go, we have the enable enemies projectile team tag. I've never messed with that. Use the border system. I don't recommend you get rid of that, because that prevents the enemies from getting outside of the map. This one, for vanilla game, as far as the melee damage and the projectile damage, it's going to depend on what mods you have, if it's vanilla or not vanilla. For example, in vanilla one, I would recommend 1 damage is enough. For the most part, 1 to 5. But if you're playing a game that has massive amounts of HP for the enemies or the bosses, then you might have to adjust. Like for Calamity mod, for example, I often go with 30 or higher, especially if it's a boss. If it's a regular enemy, I would still stick with 1 to 5, but if it's a boss in Calamity mod, maybe 30, 40, or higher, depending on how advanced up, if it's like post-Moonlord or something. And then the extra aggro is just depending on how far away you have to do to attack. I think that's how it is, so I put 4 just to make it easier for them to attack each other. I haven't ever done like 999,000 or something crazy like that. It'd be interesting to try. They'd probably be like this far away and still be able to attack. Now this is the main other part. A lot of times the enemies will despawn, especially if you do the camera control one. And so what I do with that is you can press plus here under special behavior simulation. Then, like, say we wanted to stop the demon eye from despawning, right? We select demon eye. And there's other options here. I don't really mess with these at all. The main one we're focused on today is the NPCs marked will not despawn. This is the primary use for me. This stuff, I don't know hardly anything. I don't know anything about it. I've never had to. And then there's the custom events you could probably put, like, for Pumpkin Moon or something, or have it under, like, the Ice Biome or something like that. But I've never had to use those. It's just that one. And then you can add another one. You can add, I think, as many as you want. I've never done more than 5, I think. Then you do the same thing down below. Say you wanted to make the guide not despawn, then you could do that the same way. Make sure you hit save config afterwards, because otherwise it won't save all these settings you've done, and especially if you spend enough time selecting all these guys. And then you forget, and then you have to redo it. It's a whole hassle. That goes for pretty much any mod setting that you do like that. And so yeah, we'll do a test run just to show you guys. We'll do like blue slime. Oh, I already did two blue slimes versus maybe a goblin sorcerer. So he's still moving right now because he hasn't been selected. But now that he's been selected, he freezes, right? So then I do the enemy watcher, I go away, and then press start battle. Then you unfreeze. Sometimes you'll get weird enemy AI behaviors that can happen. It could be for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes it's due to mod incompatibility or various situations that can go. I know nothing about coding, how things work, but I'm just guessing. So, like, let's say you want to do something really crazy, right? Like, let's say you wanted to do a bunch of blue slimes versus king slime. That's one of those classic ones you could do, right? But you know there's no way that even with all, you'd have to have probably 1,000 of these guys, right? But if you boost the damage rate really high, they might have a chance. So let's do, I've never boosted this, but let's do the aggro really high up. I've never gone beyond 4, I think, on that. And then let's do the same thing with melee and projectile. We'll boost that up. Go super wild with this. Alright. I think that's the max it can go. So we'll start the battle again. We'll take the perspective of King Slime. Then we'll unfreeze. Here we go. So they had a chance after all. If you increase, that's why I don't recommend increasing things to max damage unless you're doing like a wacky battle like that, because it's not going to be a reliable representation of what the actual fight would be like. It doesn't represent probably what would happen if the selected enemies were to fight. It's like I said, probably 1 to 5 for vanilla, and maybe 30 around for depending on how spongy the bosses are, how much HP they got. But that's basically it. There's not much else to it. If you have any questions, let me know down below. I appreciate you guys for watching. I've had a lot of fun with this mod. Thank you to the mod devs for making this mod. It's so many different possibilities, especially across different mods, different battles you can see. And yeah, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you all have a good day. Bye everybody.